Hey there YouTube, Speedrobo here. Today I want to show you how I go about building Buddyfight decks. Unlike Card Fight, Future Card Buddyfight is a lot more flexible in how you can construct your decks, as you don't have to consistently write up one grade at a time. There's a lot more different strategies to employ, so decks end up being a lot more varied than they do in Card Fight. Even so, I have come up with some general guidelines that I like to follow when building my own decks, so I'm going to share those with you today. Before you even select the first card to add to your deck, you need to figure out what playstyle you want. The three general playstyles are Rush, Defense, and Control. However, there are many more deck types and subtypes. One good way to figure out what kind of playstyle you want is to figure out how you want to win. Either pick a boss card or a central combo that the rest of your deck will be built around. From there, you can figure out what kind of deck you want to run and what fits the world you want to use. Each world specializes in a different playstyle, so choose a world that fits what you want to build or the same world as your boss card. The next thing to look at when building a deck is monsters. Monsters are the backbone for most decks in the game of Buddyfight, and they are the primary way to deal damage to your opponent. As a general rule, you will want no less than half of your deck to be monster cards. I usually shoot for 26 monster cards, excluding impact monsters. Another important thing to consider when picking out your monsters is what formation you want to use in your deck. The three general formations are Size 1 Field Flood, 2/1 Item, and Size 3 Wall. Size 1 Field Flood decks are focused on filling up all three monster slots every turn. Since most monsters in the deck are Size 1s, it can efficiently utilize all of the field spaces to get at least 3 solid attacks per turn. 2/1 item decks focus on using a powerful size 2 item for most of the aggro and using size 1s for support. This type of deck is typically focused around ending games as quickly as possible due to the center being left open. Size 3 wall decks use really strong size 3 monsters to protect the center. Any other monsters will generally be used on support. This kind of deck usually focuses on defense. As I said earlier, all of these are very general guidelines, and your deck might not follow any of them. We just talked about items, so let's go into more detail on them. A lot of decks out there just don't use items at all. It all depends on the playstyle you want, the formation you're going to use, and your winning image. If you are using size 2s or aggressive size 3s in your deck, I would recommend running items. In general, I include 0 to 8 items in most of my decks. Impacts are very similar to items in that lots of decks don't even bother with them. Impacts are generally powerful finishers, so if you're looking to include them, odds are they will be part of your winning image. Impact monsters are considered to be both impacts and monsters in-game, but I view them more as impacts rather than monsters. Impact monsters cannot be played during the main phase, cannot be played more than once per turn, and usually cost a monster on the field to enter play. All these factors make them more like impacts in my opinion, so keep that in mind. In general, I find myself using 0 to 4 impacts in my decks. Last, but certainly not least, let's talk about spells. Once you have the rest of your deck figured out, fill the rest of the space with spells. Spells end up being the toolbox and fuel for most decks out there. Spells come in 3 general types: defense, card advantage, and charge. Defense spells will be keeping you alive, either by nullifying attacks, removing the opponent's field, or by healing you up. I like to include at least 8 of these in most decks. Card advantage spells focus on adding cards to your hand or to the field. This can include drawing cards or calling cards. I like to keep at least 4 of these in most decks. Charge spells are pretty important too. Gauge is a valuable resource, and having a way to gain it quickly is generally a must. I usually like to have at least 2 charged spells in the deck. Spells are a very flexible category, as your monsters might be filling the role for some of your spells. So make sure you keep an open mind in this category. Choosing the buddy for your deck honestly doesn't matter too much. I typically choose my favorite card in each deck or the boss card of the deck to be the buddy. As long as you have 4 copies of the buddy in the deck and it's a card you want to call every game, it doesn't really matter what the buddy is. The deck might now be built, but it's far from complete. The next thing you need to do is play test it. Play it and keep playing it until you get a good sample size of games. Keep track of your wins and your losses, and make sure you understand why you won or lost each game. If one of the monsters that you put in as a 2 of consistently ended the game in your favor, consider running it at 4. If you keep losing games because you couldn't get enough gauge, consider adding more gauge charges to the deck. And, well, you get the idea. Losing can be frustrating, but as long as you learn from it, you will get better and your deck will improve. The last thing that I really want to talk about today is net decking. Reading or watching deck profiles to see what cool new stuff just came out, or to see if a deck type sounds fun, is totally okay. What's not a good idea is copying another deck card for card without thinking about why the deck was built like that in the first place. If a player doesn't know why their deck was put together, how the deck is supposed to win, or how the deck's combos come together, then they are bound to lose. Like I said, looking at profiles for inspiration is great. I do it all the time. However, mindless copy-pasting of decks without learning is the fast track to failure. That's all for this episode. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to see me cover in the future, drop a comment down below. I've been Speedrobo, and I'll see you later.